Wine as a time machine? No DeLoreans, but we have a few bottles here. We're going to be talking about Vin Doux Naturel and wine as a time machine. That's all coming up. I'm gonna be so excited when we can start to travel again. Hello! Welcome back to Exotic Wine Travel. I am your host, Matthew Horkey. Welcome back to the show where we help you drink adventurously so you can expand your palate and expand your mind. And we're gonna be expanding palates today with fortified wines from France. And I think we're going to be expanding minds talking about time travel. Like most science geeks growing up, I was obsessed with Back to the Future.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
As I got more into wine, I started to wonder, can wine be a time machine? Okay, so probably the only real time machine that we actually know of is it's all in the mind. It's just memories. But just hear me out for 1 second. You know, there's evidence out there to suggest that the sense of smell is the most powerful sense when it comes to evoking emotion. What is wine all about? Wine is all about smell and taste. And actually, taste is 90% olfaction. So if we put everything together, what does wine do? It evokes memories. I think the easiest way to relate this, there's a certain type of fragrance that always reminds you of that special someone. Since I haven't been traveling for the last year, and I probably can't for the next year or so, I thought about taking a trip down memory lane, down to the south of France. Back in the spring of 2018, I went down to the south of France to the Roussillon. Beautiful location. And I'm going to taste today 2 wines to help me bring back some of those memories since I can't really travel during this time. So we have a couple of Vin Doux Naturels here. For those of you that don't know, Vin Doux Naturels are fortified wines, and they're most commonly associated with the Languedoc-Roussillon, but they are made throughout the south of France as well. Think of them as basically French port. The wines are picked and and then they start fermentation, and when they get to about 6% of alcohol, neutral grape spirits, brandy without wood influence, without flavor, is added in. So what happens is fermentation stops, so there's still residual sugar left over. That's why the wines are sweet. And the wines are about 15 to 18% alcohol. Personally, I like Vin Doux Naturels. I love port as well, but sometimes port coming in at 20% alcohol, I can really start to feel it on the palate and the head. Some notable appellations that in Roussillon that make Vin Doux Naturel, you're going to look for places like Maury, look places like Rivesaltes, Muscat de Rivesaltes, and also BANYULS. And I've got 2 today, 2 from producers I've actually visited. First, we have the Rivesaltes. This is the Brial Rivesaltes Ambre 2011. This is mostly Macabeo and then some Grenache BLANC, aged in wood for 2 years. That's why you have this amber kind of golden color. It's been aged oxidatively. Brial is one of the largest cooperatives in the Roussillon. They make some really nice wines at affordable prices. This Rivesaltes Ambre. If you want to get in, if you like fortified wines, sweet wines, I think this is available around the world at under $20. So I think it's a steal. Look at that beautiful color. Really nice. First, let me give this a smell here. Think butterscotch, caramel, a little bit maybe fresh squeezed tangerine peel, toffee, cedar, tobacco type notes. These wines can be very complex. But the cool thing about this is on one of the side trips with a bunch of journalists, we had a kind of a French picnic at Brial. It was so incredible. It was just this huge vineyard. There's a lot of people. And what all the producers did is they broke out a huge grill and put a bunch of snails, a bunch of fresh escargot. And all we ate was escargot, fresh French bread, and aioli. And then we just sipped on a bunch of wines, including some Rivesaltes. I thought it was a really magical experience. The sun was out. Such an authentic experience. It wasn't super fine dining, but it was delicious. Great sweet wine should still have acidity to kind of wipe the palate clean. And that's what this has right here. You feel a little heat on the back end, not gonna lie, but that shouldn't scare you away. These are wines, Rivesaltes, all their Vin Doux Naturels can really go well with chocolate, actually, so, just like port, some of the rare wines to do so. So one of the most famous producers I've had is Domaine. I think it's the largest biodynamic producer in the south of France, or maybe even France. I had a couple of their old Rivesaltes, and the wines were just stunning to die for. Really tawny port in style, if you like that. Using my trusty Coravin. Coravin is awesome for port and sweet wines, fortified wines, because you can't really, for me at least, I can't drink the whole bottle, so it's nice to just occasionally have a glass. So next we have Banyuls here. Banyuls is the wines come from a village called Banyuls-SUR-MER. Terraced steep slopes. This is the land of Grenache, so Banyuls has to be made of red Grenache, or Grenache Blanc, or Grenache Gris. So there can be white, there can be Ambre style as well. Here's the red. This is the Domaine Vial-Magnéres. Banyuls Grand Cru Cuvée André Magnéres. 2009. This was aged in the barrel for 10 years. Being in wine so long, I would still be better with pronunciations, but the French pronunciations still get me every single time. You get this almost molasses type color. Speaking of, when I look at sight, this reminds me of when I would have bumps on my tongue and my dad would make me eat a bunch of spoonfuls of molasses, which I didn't like at all. This is very much for those that like more of the ruby vintage port type of style. Chocolate, more red fruit, more fruit driven. There's a little bit of licorice here, mushroom, a little bit of meatiness. Super complex, actually, really complex wine. I actually fell in love with Banyuls. I didn't really have a lot until I went there for the first time. I think the wines are absolutely stellar. Even though it's 18% alcohol, can't really feel it. It's really complex. Bottle aged, you still have some fruit flavors, some tobacco, just all this crazy stuff. Maybe even a little bit of caramel coffee starts to come in. There's a little bit of tannin, which is also interesting as well. A cool story about this producer and just Banyuls in general. I remember we went up to Banyuls, so they're terraces, and then just facing the Mediterranean Sea, just incredibly steep terraces, all crushed, looks like slate, rocks. I was actually with this producer. He didn't speak English very well, but he was trying to communicate with me. And during that afternoon, it was really hot outside. The sun was coming down, reflecting off the rocks, but it didn't matter. They had a Michelin star chef cook like a traditional homely meal. He basically dug out a hole and cooked it in the ground. Producers brought out all their dry wines, Coullioure Blanc, Coullioure Rouge. And at the end, they broke out all the Banyuls, red Banyuls, white Banyuls, Ambre Banyuls. And I remember we were with a bunch of people, a bunch of producers, a bunch of journalists. Usually in the mid-afternoon especially, you're just so professional. You're spitting everything, you're tasting everything. But the wines were so phenomenal that everybody just got drunk because the wines were so good. Yeah, I guess since I can't travel during this time, it was nice to revisit some wines from the Roussillon. Get me thinking forward into the days where hopefully I can travel again soon. So I'd like to know, do you think wine is a time machine or just a vehicle to evoke great memories? I'd love to hear in the comments below, or for you to share your favorite memory around wine, and I will see you at the next episode.
Hello, thanks for watching.
Hey, you made it to the end. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell so you know when new videos are out. If you like content like this, check out our Patreon page where you get some behind the scenes exclusive content. Thanks for watching. Cheers.
Cheers.